What up, Asian Not Asian listeners? We're having another Hack City live comedy show. It's at Union Hall in Brooklyn on Saturday, August 21st at 7:30 p.m. Get tickets by visiting AsianNotAsianPod.com or check the link in this episode's description. See you there. The thing I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to like bring up her friend who's like going to give a speech, like a real speech, and then her husband who's going to give a real speech. But I kind of forgot about that. So I had like 4 drinks in like an hour before I had to go up. And I can hold my liquor, but I was like, oh, fuck.
And welcome back to another episode of Asian Not Asian Podcast, the podcast where 2 Asian guys not from Asia talk about American issues no American cares about. I'm your host, Fumi Abe.
And I'm Mike Nguyen.
Today is August 7th, Saturday, coming at you from all over the country once again. Reunited with my homies on Zoom. Feels good to be here.
Does it feel good? Okay.
Not really. I just said it because I feel like people sometimes need to know that me and you are friends.
Oh, you know what? I get a lot of questions. You know what? I get a lot of questions. There's 2 things people, whenever they meet me, they go, wow, it's really weird to hear your voice. Yeah. And then 2, are you friends with Fumi? And then,
yeah.
You know,
I get asked that a lot too. It's
in
complicated, listeners. It's complicated. Are we friends? I don't know. We are good business partners. I trust Mike with my money, but do I trust him with my feelings? I don't know. I cannot say for sure. I cannot say for sure.
We're like consiglieres to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if I was like, okay, I need to have someone killed, maybe I wouldn't ask Fumi, but I would ask Fumi to check over the killer contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, see if this murder contract makes sense. And he's like, nah, man, nah. You're going 500 over market rate. Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. People don't know this, but we are on YouTube. So look us up on YouTube, Asian Not Asian Pod. Like, rate it, subscribe, smash that like button. I've always wanted to say that.
Smash it.
Be sure to leave a review on Apple. If you're on your Apple iPhone, use the podcast app and leave a review. Leave us 5 stars. I think we're at 4.9 now because we've been getting some haters, which actually kind of feels good.
We love haters.
We do love haters. So leave a review. You can leave us 5 stars and then shit talk us on the in the actual review itself. We don't care, but leave us 5 stars. And then also, if you're on Spotify, hit follow because then you can know when more episodes come out and fun stuff like that happens. Finally, tell all your friends. Take a screenshot of what's happening right now on your phone. Post it on Instagram. Tag us at Asian Not Asian Pod because we need you in order to just do anything in life. This is how it is. This is how it works.
We love you. We need you. We're codependent. So please do all those things Mike just said, all of it. Before we start our show, we always give a shout out to our newest Patreon subscribers. What is Patreon? It is the best way to support this podcast. As you know, we are a completely independent operation. We're not with a network. It's just me and Mike, and we don't even live in the same city anymore. It's so hard to do this, all right? So what do we need? How can you help us with our emotions and the fact that Mike and I are sad because we're not in the same room anymore? You can give us money at patreon.com/Asian Not Asian Pod. And in return, we'll give you a shout out on this podcast. Guess your ethnicity, purely based on your last name. A very problematic game, but we love doing it.
Yep.
And we also slide into your DMs with a little video, like cameo style, and then there's monthly bonus episodes. There's all kinds of fun stuff, so check that out. So here we go, our newest subscribers for this week. We have 4. Ooh. These are interesting.
Yeah.
The first one is Rodelia C. Azcueta. Azcueta. Ooh, this is I'm getting like native Peruvian vibes. Not Spanish, but like the native people of Peru.
Yes.
The people who were once like the Mayan, like the descendants of the Mayan people or whatever.
Yes. This guy, this person's family definitely killed a conquistador like 500 years ago.
I'm getting shaman vibes for sure.
I'm feeling that. Offered up the heart up to some god and
sun god. Yes.
Yeah. So shouts to you.
Shouts to our shaman Asians. Thank you for donating. I don't know. I think this is a joke, but this guy's name is just Billie Jean.
Okay.
That's it. No last name. Billie Jean.
I'm gonna go Chinese.
I think it's Chinese. There's no doubt about it. Can't fool us. You're Chinese. All right, next. This one just says Bao, B-A-O.
This is just like a dumpling. A dumpling
Just
is
a dumpling escaped. A dumpling escaped from Joe's Shanghai in New York, and it got access to like one of those internet cafes and got on Patreon and left us a review. That's great. You're a Pixar Asian, and I love that.
Yeah. That one bao from the Pixar thing got on the internet, started an OnlyFans.
Yes.
Was like, you want to see what's inside this bao? Woo! Smash and subscribe, $50 a month, baby.
Wait, that's a sketch.
You want to see my pork? You want to see this pork?
Write it down. That's mad funny. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And finally, we have dude. I don't know how to pronounce this.
This one's tricky.
Bia, B-I-A, jelly, G-E-L-I,
jelly or gelly?
Gelly.
I want to say like Italian.
Okay, this is what I think it's Italian, but this is what a Japanese anime artist would think an Italian name would sound like.
Yes.
So this is an Italian person inside the imagination of the person who made
it's
Sailor
Bia
Moon.
Gelly by way of Hiroshi Nakamura.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes. Wow.
Nailed it.
Wow.
Wow. Can't get past us.
We're so good at this game. God. We hope we got all of that right. If we didn't, please let us know, but please don't get mad, okay? Let us know.
Hey.
DM us. Let us know if you got it right. We love you. And again, if you want to get in on this game, go to patreon.com/AsianNotAsianPod.
That's right. On with the show. I mean, every week, Fumi and I, we bring you the freshest, hottest takes on being an Asian, not Asian person. As you know, it could be tricky. Because it's complicated. We live complicated lives.
You said it best one time. You said it best. You said one time being Asian American is like dividing by zero. It is undefined. That is the nerdiest but most accurate description of what it's like to be
You want to break your TI-85? You want to break your TI-85? Ask it, what is it like to be Asian American? And it'll be what? So don't do that to your TI-85. But we want to start off the podcast by just delving in. What kind of Asian were you this week, Fumi? Huh?
Yes. I've got a. This is I don't think I've ever been this kind of Asian before in my life because, as you know, as other listeners, I just moved to Los Angeles for a job, and I got a sublet, and it's been like, I don't know, I guess I've been here for like 6 days, just getting used to the land, getting acclimated. This week, I would say I was a blindsided Asian. You ever been a blindsided Asian? Bro, you already know. I mean, I am getting hit with surprises left and right, dude. And
I tried to warn you, bro. Yeah.
I know. It's so like I didn't know anything about LA. Like all my knowledge of LA comes from like TV shows like Insecure or like Seth Rogen movies or whatever. Like
have you never been? Have you never been visited?
I came one
just
time
like
in 2017, but
right,
I just went to Santa Monica and I just like hung out around there. So like I don't really understand like what it's like to live here and be an actual like contributing citizen. But like, dude, I mean, first of all, I don't want to insult anybody who is in LA, and I'm not insulting it, but like I don't even like LA. I don't even know. It's like when I first got here, I didn't realize it's not really a city in the way that like New York is a city or like Tokyo is a city. Like to me, and I don't mean disrespect, but it just felt like where I grew up in Ohio, but with hotter people and better restaurants everywhere. That like you just like, I mean, in where I grew up in Columbus, like you can take a bus, but nobody fucking does. Like short. It's kind of like that. It's like you can take this bus, but like nobody's
on the bus. There's like two people on it, right? There's not even a driver on there. There's just two people.
Exactly.
Bus driving itself.
It's free now too, by the way. You don't even have to pay. I don't know what's
serious?
going on. Yeah, Gavin.
I'm waiting. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait until they give you money. When you get on the bus, to give you $5, and you're like, all right, maybe.
It's like everything is it's like very, very suburban, it's very suburban. And I like was not ready for that. And also like people warned me about like LA characters, like you're going to meet some wild people in LA. And I'm like, dude, I mean, I think people are just people. I'm sure they're fine. But two types of people I met in LA so far that I've never, ever met in my entire life. Okay. Yesterday I met a comedian. I don't even remember his name. He was performing at the Improv or something, or maybe he was just hanging out, and he was like a white guy with like a ton of gold chains, like a bunch of gold rings.
Wow.
And really nice guy. But he was like telling me about, he was like, yeah, I was like, oh, you into like jewelry and stuff? And he was like, yeah, man, like that's my merch. Like after shows, I sell my merch. And he was showing me, he had a suitcase, and he was just straight up selling gold after his, like it had to been 30 times the price of his whatever it cost to watch this guy do stand up, But I was like, oh, like, I mean, first of all, your parents were there. If you're asking, Mike, your parents were there buying gold for sure.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say, yeah, exact gold. You say? So this was in Little Saigon.
Yeah, it was in Little Saigon.
Was there jade though? I need jade.
I think he was working on that, but I was just like, I've never heard of a comedian sell merch after shows like seriously in New York, and then on top of that, the fact that it was gold.
But it's not. It's not like it's not like a funny T-shirt or something.
No,
like
it's
that.
gold, and he was like being 100% serious, and I was like,
wait, hold on. Did he have like? Was his content gold oriented? Was he like, I'm the gold guy? You know what I'm saying?
I didn't get to see his comedy, but like, if he was doing that, I would almost be like, okay, this makes sense. But if he
that makes a little.
But
more
if he was
sense.
a regular comedian who just like, my wife, how she's always nagging, you know what I mean? Like just a regular straight comedian, and then he's just selling.
All right.
gold.
By the way, I've got great prices on 14 karat Cuban links, 14 inches up to 24 inches.
Yeah.
So hit me up after the show.
So that was one, and I was like, wow, I'm not in New York anymore. Second type of people I've met that have surprised me, and I've met more than one person of this character, and it's the hot blonde chick with a lot of plastic surgery who listens to Joe Rogan. Does this make sense?
Yes.
They don't exist in New York. Like hot girls in New York don't listen to Joe Rogan. Not because they may not agree with him, but they're just like, no, he's a loser. He's like a fat guy. I'm not, you know what I mean? He's like who cares? He's like 5'3". It's just like he's not cool.
I would say the difference between hot people in New York versus hot people in LA is like hot people in New York are like magazine hot, where it's very editorial, very like well put together. You know what I'm saying? Like looks like you're on the cover of Vogue. You got good taste. Like Hamptons, right?
Yes,
Hamptons-y. Look
Good
at
taste.
me. I'm on a beach. I'm on a yacht. Upper class.
Yeah.
Whereas like hot in LA is like I'm so chill, and look at me, I'm one of the boys. I'm sporty.
One of the boys.
Up to and including having anti-vax opinions.
And it was so weird because I've just never seen, I mean, maybe this is just me being ignorant, but like I guess I've just never seen like a very porn star hot looking girl who's like all about Joe Rogan and anti-vax.
Hold on here.
I don't know.
Fumi, if there's someone who's ignorant here, it is not you. Okay? It is the LA. This is why, dude. That thing, everybody listen to the episode, maybe it came out a month ago, where I came back from my trip to LA and I was so worked up. This is exactly why. Not the gold guy. That guy sounds tight. I want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah.
The people in LA, they are, this whole thing, you're gonna come into it more often. You're gonna come into this like into contact, and I think it's gotten worse over time. But it's like they live on the West Coast, they look like they're liberals, but they're actually just fucking hicks.
Yes.
They're just small town hicks.
Yes.
Who have Lamborghinis. That's entirely what this
You're
is.
absolutely right. Because if you think about it, a lot of these girls I'm talking to, they're just like, they're the hottest girl from their high school in Arizona or some shit. They're not like from here. You know what I mean? So that it totally makes sense. But
was this hot girl? Was she doing comedy?
I think she was also like in the comedy. Like I think that's the only reason why she was talking to me, because I was like, why would this porn star looking lady be? I have nothing to offer this lady.
I want to hear. I mean, I definitely want to hear later on. Once you do some more shows, I kind of like what the comedy is like out there too, because I feel here it's like everybody here is like a anemic white dude or like crazy non-binary comedian person who's doing like all sorts of really esoteric TikTok jokes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's very niche here, in a lot of ways. Like very comedy niche, which can be good or bad. Yeah. But I want to hear what it is in LA, if it's like gold or breast implant jokes or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
Talk about out there. I'm really interested in hearing.
Well, if you want me to have this conversation on the podcast, LA comedians, please fucking book me. I'm available, and I will be able to do this bit on this podcast.
Be sure to book Fumi way early, because he has to take the bus everywhere, so he has to leave now for the show you booked him on 2 weeks from now.
Anyways, Mike, what kind of Asian were you this week?
I was a very drunk Asian.
Hey.
This is kind of coming out of last week, but I was just thinking about. So my friend had a really big birthday. That's really why I was in San Francisco. And before, so we want to do some speeches. And this is one of those things. I don't know if this happens to you, but sometimes people want me at different, I don't know, events like weddings or something, for me to like say something. To kind of like,
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a comedian, right? And like, oh, hey, can you host this thing or whatever, right? Or MC this thing. I'm like, okay, sure. You're my friend. I'll do that for you. But then I realized what happens is I cannot have fun before the show before I go up.
Yeah.
Right. I have to like be really cogent. Right.
Yeah.
And but I kind of forgot about that, and I had like a bunch of shots. This is my friend's party. She's doing very well for herself. She like rented out the whole restaurant, and it was open bar.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, this will be fun. I kind of forgot that I had to do this. So I had like 4 drinks in like an hour before I had to go up. And I can hold my liquor, but I was like, oh fuck. I was like, oh my God, I have to go and do this thing. I had written some jokes down on the back of like a napkin. And and the thing I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to like bring up her friend who's like going to give a speech, like a real speech, and then her husband who's going to give a real speach. Yeah. So I just, the stakes are low for me. And honestly, it was fine. But like the whole thing, I had someone videotape the whole thing for the birthday person so she can watch it later on. And I watched it, and wow, it's not terrible, but it's like I was just like, it's like I got punched in the head and then I had to go up and talk. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like that. Can you
tell us one joke you did on this show?
You know what? I can. Okay. And actually I was trying to use this. So you know what? At the end of this ultimately was an open mic for me, and I was able to do some comedy. I have a joke where this person has really good taste, and she has like great taste in clothing and art and furniture. And actually for when she got rid of her old couch, she gave it to me. So that means for the longest time, the nicest thing my family owned was her old couch, right? Mm-hmm. And it's because of this person that I had to explain to my refugee family what a chaise was. So that's really what it came down to. Yeah, so that's what it was. But just imagine me doing that 4 shots in. So
right.
That was me. It was weird. It's weird. I don't know if that happens to you ever, Fumi, where like people want you to say something, and you know what I'm saying, and you're like, okay, sure, I guess. What's the worst going to happen? But then you're like, oh, this could go really wrong.
No, I think that's because I don't have friends anymore. But I also make it very clear, like I don't do, like, if my friends are like, oh, dude, like I don't know, I've been to like weddings with like, oh, you should do like a set or something. Like I will like, I just make it very clear I don't do that. Like you can't just like tap me to be funny or whatever. You know what I mean? Right. Naturally, of course, if we're just hanging out, I can be funny. But like, I make it very clear. So I think my friends kind of understand that like as a boundary. I'm a boundary Asian also this week. So, anyways, 4 drinks. It's so funny, Mike. You are, you're like a woke Asian. You read a lot of books about Asian American history. You're always teaching me shit. You're like you're like Rafiki from Lion King. But
yes,
but it's so funny because you like hate, you're like, oh, white people, this and that. But I also forget at the end of the day, you also drink like a 21-year-old white girl from USC. So, you contain multitudes is what I'm saying.
Hey, me and Kaylee are going out later on, and don't try to ruin our vibe. So whatever.
Absolutely. So I want to hear more from our guest. I want to see what kind of Asian he's been this week. Our guest this week.
Yes.
So happy to have him on. He's the host or co-host of the Ajima Show, which is like a podcast. So check that out. He was just selected to be. He just did JFL just for laughs. A thing that
what
Mike and I've been wanting for years, and we never get it, but he did it, and that's amazing. And he currently has a project in development with CBS / ABC Networks with Bobby Lee, also a guy we talk about a lot on this podcast. So
we're gonna get up at that and talk about that. Yeah.
So excited to have him, guys. Give it up for the hilarious Peter Kim.
Woo-hoo! Hi, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. For being here. Want to just open. We want to talk about your kind of experiences and upbringing and your career. But first of all, what kind of Asian were you this week? You listen to our stories. I mean, have you? What kind?
What kind of Asian? I was an entitled Asian this week.
Okay. What's going on here?
I was quite demanding. I was on. So I'm shooting a indie right now, and they got us these Honey Wagon trailers, and which is nice, for a super low budget. We got trailers, but it was so fucking hot, and the AC did not work in the trailers.
Oh shit!
So they were like, go, and they were so like proud of getting us these trailers. So they were like, would you like to change in your trailer? Do you want to go hang out
Yeah.
in your trailer? And I'm like, no, shit is hot in there. I'm not fucking going in there. So like anyway, so I demanded they create like air conditioned space for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Peter.
I know. I've never been this high on a call sheet before, but now that I am, I'm like turning into a fucking monster.
And this isn't, you just said this is just an independent one. Wait until they got money. You're gonna be
Girl,
like punching
a studio
interns.
backing it.
Oh no.
I'm gonna be like Tom Cruise, like just screaming at people, like "fuck you." Yeah.
Damn, I love that. Yeah, it just takes like I think for a lot of comedians. I mean, like we're all entitled in a weird way, and we're all sort of delusional. That's why we do this. But it just takes one. Luxurious item for you to unlock that mode, and then you just become a fucking diva.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Never let me have a piece of any power. I will corrupt immediately. I'm ready to corrupt.
Did you have any like cool like any of those weird rider things where it's like, oh, I want only like half-eaten blue M&Ms, some shit like that? Was there any shit like that?
Not yet. They didn't give me a choice of a rider, which I'm gonna have to talk to production next week. But
Peter, I know you're not originally from LA, but you've been here for a minute. Could you relate to some of the people I was meeting this week? The gold chain.
Oh yeah,
comedian,
gold chain guy,
and hot girls who like Joe Rogan.
Hot girls that like Joe Rogan. I don't get it. I mean, do they want to fuck him? Do they want to be on his show? I don't get it. There's a lot of you were talking about this, Fumi, about how like it feels like a suburb.
Yeah.
Just like a hot suburb. And I grew up in New York City, so I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Coming out here, it's not a city. LA is like
right.
a bunch of disparate oases in a hellfire desert. With like and people just struggling with their broken dreams. It's it's like the most beautiful place and the most tragic place at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why
Peter,
comedy is so bad here, I think.
Whoa, really?
Comedy sucks in LA. Fumi, how long have you been in LA now?
6 days.
Whoa, okay, so you'll see. Comedy, I think this is the worst place to do comedy.
I'm starting to see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Walk us through the logic there. Because I would think that like if it's tragic and stuff like that is something that I see. It's beautiful, but whenever I go to LA, there's like a touch of sadness in the air. Like a touch of broken dreams, like just out there in your kombucha or whatever the fuck it is. And it's just like, it's out there. But I would think that would make for good comedy, but you say it doesn't.
It doesn't because I think there's a lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what really creates point of view. But I think people in LA, as Fumi was saying, it's like the hottest people from the worst places in America.
I think people have left them unchecked for so long. You're right about the self-awareness. Like people are just out there saying shit, doing shit, and I'm just like, are you really doing that? And they're like,
unironically, doing all these things.
Unironically selling gold chains after comedy.
Unironically, you know what I'm saying? Like talking about whatever, plastic surgery, this and that, and posting. I always wonder who are these people who are like influencers on Instagram, and like, do they not feel ashamed or silly?
No. America, there's no shame in America. That's the fucking problem. Is that nobody's getting spanked. You know what I mean? Nobody's getting beat by their Asian dads by a fucking slipper. You know what I mean? Like, where's the shame?
Where's the shame?
Where's the collective fucking shame? Like, LA's like, I call LA the last destination of humanity. It's like 1 second away from Blade Runner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like tipping. It's going to be, the sky's going to be scorched and it's going to be raining acid for 10 years straight. Like, we're almost there. We're like close.
You have to, you can't walk around physically. You have to always be in an armored car,
Yes. Yeah.
It's very, like Thunderdome situation.
Yes.
There's already people wearing a lot of leather, for some reason, even though it's hot. Yeah.
Exactly.
It sounds weird. One thing that always happens to me too is it's like suburb, it's like ultra suburb, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like perfected suburb. Mm-hmm. So they have these giant, I don't know what's it called, outdoor shopping entertainment districts. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Dude,
got 'em
call
all
it what
over
it
the
is. It's a fucking mall, bro.
It's a mall.
Fucking
It's an
mall.
outdoor mall.
But they're really nice. They're really
Yeah.
well done.
Beautiful.
Right? And so sometimes I'm like going to a suburb in New York and I'll go to some place in Westchester and I'm like, oh, look at this really nice suburb in New York. And I'm like, this suburb is garbage. Where is the Topgolf? Where is the Cineplex? Where is like the super artisanal Panda Express? You know, like that's the kind of shit that's in LA, like super suburb. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's got to be. There's no city here. There's no community. It's not cosmopolitan. Like there's nothing.
Yes, it's not cosmopolitan.
There's nothing that makes people mesh and cultures clash, and there's none of that. It's very like you stay where you are, I stay where I am, and it's very clearly. There's clear jurisdictions. Like you live in WeHo, right?
Yeah.
Fumi?
Yes.
West Hollywood is its own fucking city.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in LA, New York, it's different. Like I grew up in New York. There's boroughs. Everything's part of a thing, right? Like all the trains go everywhere.
Yeah.
In LA, like you go into a certain neighborhood and it's a different police department. You know what I mean? They got different laws.
Yeah, you're right. It's not all LAPD, right?
No, there's like Santa Monica's a different thing. West Hollywood's a different thing. So like there's different fucking laws. And it's just rich people just redistricting them like people out. You know, it's like
wow.
It's like active redlining in front of us, and it's crazy to live in a place where you're constantly being told like, no, honey, not you. Like that's the vibe in LA.
Yeah, I will say there's a lot of I don't really know the vibe of this neighborhood. It's pretty nice so far. A lot of hot gay guys with cute dogs, and
Yes.
I could see why they would demand a different sort of policing services because those people cannot be tamed, and so that makes sense. Peter, I want to start with this. You have a podcast. And I would call you got the Ajuma podcast. By the way, Mike and I were having a discussion about this. It's called the Ajuma.
I was trying to explain.
It's a Korean word. I thought that just
Ajuma.
meant like it meant like auntie or something. But he was Mike was
and
saying
I was
it was
trying to
maybe
explain.
something more.
It is a very, in my opinion, I'm not Korean. My wife is Korean, and she, I've watched a lot of, I've hung out at a lot of K towns. I've watched a lot of K dramas, and now I know what an Ajuma is. And it's a very, I think, particular thing. It's not just like a married woman. It's not like a grandma either. You know, it's a very specific making kimchi. I'm wearing the apron. I can get down into the full squat, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
How would you describe what an ajuma is?
An ajuma is a matriarchal communal figure that is all-knowing.
Yep.
Completely jujudgmental, but also nurturing at the same time.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
And that's why we called it the Ajuma Show, because, when Unji and I, my co-host, met in the comedy scene, much like you guys were two Asians in a very non-Asian scene, right? That's how we met in Chicago. And when we met, we bonded immediately.
Yeah.
And in Korean, there's a word called suda, which means it means you're just talking shit, like two ladies talking shit and gossiping, and that's what we did. And we're like like two ajumas, and that's how the whole thing started.
I love that.
There you go.
And your podcast, actually, this is like an insane thing to say, but I would consider it to be like original, like OG Asian podcast, because you started in like 2017, and I feel like that was before us. And I remember when we first started, when we were doing a little market research, the only other like podcast hosted by Asian Americans, there was one called like Asian Efficiency or something. Like
there was like, if you looked up Asian podcast, one of the top one was 2 white chicks in China. And it was like, there's literally no Asian people in that one.
Yeah.
That's
but
a
it's like,
failed CBS pilot.
starring Scarlett Johansson,
Kat Dennings, yes.
Yeah. But I just wanted to now there's a lot of Asian podcasts. It's so weird when I say OG, I'm talking about like 4 years ago, which is an insane. But that's how
so
comedy with Asian Americans work. Every year is like 1,000 years, right? Like every year,
exactly.
Every year
so many things change.
We're aging so quickly.
Yes, and so having started your podcast 4,000 years ago, I wanted to ask you. Now there's so many more Asian comedy podcasts and stuff like that. What do you think about the growing number of Asian American podcasts? Do you ever check them out? Do you feel weird about it? Are you ever like hey, we were the first, baby. Like, what's your, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not a fan of anyone's podcast, really.
Yep. Same. Yep.
No, I love it. When we started our podcast, we didn't know anything about podcasting. We just knew that, what happened was Trump was elected, and we were so angry that we had to like do something about it, and we just started getting on the mic and screaming into the void, and then we always said like, we don't want this to be a thing that we have to do. We just want this to be a thing we want to do. So we decided to never have guests, never really have a format. I mean, I'm sure if you guys listen to it, it's barely. You can't really follow it. There's no structure. It's just two
really,
people.
Yeah.
It's
just
really
two people
almost
ranting.
Like the
relationship, like it's almost like the relationship between you two in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And when I left Chicago, we were like, okay, that was fun. Like cool, peace. But like we were like, well, I'm gonna move to LA and I'm gonna need something to hold on to. So can we? I asked her like, can we do it in 2 different cities? Can we sync it up like you guys are doing? And we've been doing it, and it's really become our like space to vent. And and the fact that we still say like the fact that people listen to it now boggles my mind, because I don't know what they're there for. You know what I mean? Like we're not giving you much.
I'm not learning anything.
No, we're usually spouting a lot of unverified information. We're quite like Joe Rogan in that way. Like I'm just like we're spreading like bad shit
for sure. Do not come to us. Do not come to podcasts for your primary sources. I mean,
please don't get your fucking news from podcasts.
Oh my God, we cannot.
Please don't. People don't hold me to that.
Please.
I'm not doing that.
We need to tell people that for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
We really like shot ourselves in the foot because we called it the Ajima Show, and when we started, like we were huge fans of this podcast called The Read. Do you guys know this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Kid Fury and Crystal.
Yeah, they're huge. They have a TV show now.
Huge. One of my it's one of my favorite podcasts. And I remember when we started ours, I told Eunji like, it sucks that there's not enough Korean American culture for us to skewer it, because what the Read does is they take what's going on in Black culture, either popular culture or news or whatever, and they either highlight them or they drag them, or they read them, which is what it's called. But we were like, there's not enough things for us to talk about.
Oh my God, that's so real, man.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not enough things in print or whatever for us to fucking reference, right? So like, we really shot ourselves to, because it's a very niche podcast. We do a thing called Kick-Ass Koreans where we talk about Korea, and we're like, and you guys, you guys did the right thing of just widening the scope to like Asians. Like we didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but what's
we're
crazy
like, fuck
is
Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese. We don't care about any of. It's very Korean that way.
It's very Korean. No.
It's very elitist in that way.
Just everyone in our, just people in our neighborhood. We're not gonna talk about any of this other shit. But, fuck that island over there. Yep.
But like, to your point, it's funny because it's so funny because you're like, oh, you guys had this idea to spread to Asian. Even when you spread to Asian Americans, it's still very narrow, because I remember
so narrow.
We have a segment called Race News, which we'll do later, which we try to talk about like what's going on in Asian America, because like to your point, like I couldn't do what's going on in Japanese American people's lives.
Right.
I have nobody's writing about that, right? So it's too specific, and so we do have a thing called Race News in the very beginning when we first started this podcast. Now it's getting a little bit better because people talk about us now, but in like 2018, every week it would be an article by the same author. Her name is Kimmy Yam. She's like a writer for Huffington Post.
Kimmy the Pooh.
Yes, and it would just be like she was the only person writing about it, so we would always just do her articles, and it was like it was like, and now it's gotten a lot better. But do you remember that, Mike? It was like we just like didn't have any race news. We tried to do it.
I used to work for NBC News, and I would be like on the lookout for this kind of things. I would have all these like Google alerts up, for every kind of combination of thing. Like, hit me with some Laotian shit. Hit me with some like fucking Thai shit. Hit me, whatever it was. Yeah. And when you have something like that, it's always like, a dictator just overthrew this guy in Laos. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I can't talk about that. Like, so, to your points, I feel it's like talking about Asian American stuff is like really uncharted. There's not.
Yeah.
It's not like defined. Once again, you divide by 0 or whatever the fuck it is. It's just like people don't know. Even we don't really know. Sometimes
we're just figuring it out.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, Peter, you are the news. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have you on
No,
here. You're
do
the
not
news.
say that.
You are.
Okay?
Did you hear about Peter? And he got so upset on the set of this indie movie that he threw a fit. We're here exclusive with Peter Kim. How do you explain your actions, sir? It's out of control.
In 2021, a truly diversified portfolio needs more than the traditional mix of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. It needs private real estate, baby. Studies have shown that portfolios with an allocation to private real estate generally delivered a better risk adjustment return with more annual income and lower volatility over the past 2 decades, thanks to its track record of consistent performance through multiple market cycles. With FUNDRISE, this level of powerful diversification is now available to you. FUNDRISE provides access to diversified portfolios of private real estate to all investors with their industry-leading, easy-to-use platform. Whether you're looking to add stable cash flow via dividends or prefer long-term growth through application, FUNDRISE makes investing in private real estate as easy as investing in stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. FUNDRISE's team of real estate professionals carefully vets and actively manages all of their real estate projects. And with their easy-to-use website, you can track your portfolio's performance and watch as properties across the country are acquired, improved, and operated via dynamic asset updates. Anos, if you listen to this podcast, Mike and I, all we want to do is get rich. All we want to do is get rich and invest, but we don't know anything about investment because I studied music and I forget what Mike studied at UC Berkeley. But this app takes care of it all. It's really easy to use, and the app kind of takes care of everything for you. I know investing can be like a big black box, but they just kind of take care of it for you, and it's a good time. See for yourself how 150,000 investors have built a better portfolio with private real estate. It takes just a few minutes to get started. Go to fundrise.com/Asian today. That's FUNDRISE.com/Asian. Fundrise.com/Asian.
Your partner is a hot white guy. We've heard. I think we're supposed to give you a high five. I mean, there was this gross thing that Asian dudes did for a while. When if you saw another Asian dude with a white girl, you would like kind of give him like a wink or something like that.
Right.
I think that's kind of like not a thing anymore, fortunately.
Yeah.
But
Thank
I feel.
God.
I don't know how it is for gay relationships. I don't know.
Does that happen with gay Asians?
A wink. Yeah, is that a thing?
Oh, when I see another gay Asian with like a gay white guy, like walking down. When I see another gay Asian walking down the street, we avert eyes.
Yes.
And we make sure that we never connect in any emotional way.
No. Yep.
We remain foes.
Yes. There should be some sort of app like that, like an anti-Tinder, where you like if you're nearby someone who's also an Asian gay dude, you can be enemies with him. And
damn.
You can,
Start beef.
Start beef.
Bro,
beef.
The gay Asian per capita in West Hollywood is out of the roof right now. We can't be here. That's interesting because
it's not. It's something that I joke about it. I wish there was more gay Asian solidarity. Unfortunately, we're stuck in that same kind of hamster wheel of the scarcity, model of like there can only be one, So
right.
And it's getting better and better. There's a big gay Asian like party scene out here, and there's a community of people. So like, LA's the first place I've lived where I found a community.
Oh, really?
Okay. But every other, I mean, San Francisco too. But like every other place I lived in Chicago, New York. It was always kind of like, well, I'm the only Gaysian in this group of hot gay white guys. Like, don't talk to me. I'm the, I call them like Asian familiars. You know what I mean? Like, just doing the bidding of their white
doing
wizards,
their bidding. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're turning into a cat and you're like running around.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I wish there was, on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, Unji and I talked about this because we both are in long-term relationships with white partners. And after the Atlanta shootings, which is a huge kind of milestone for Asian America, I started like looking at my boyfriend a different way, and I'm like, we've been together 6 years, but all of a sudden I'm like, is this a long con? Like I'm getting like worried about my well-being. And I'm just starting to question things like, why are you doing this? Like, so like, we talked about like, would it be easier if I was dating another gay Korean? you know,
Whoa.
and how much like cultural shortcuts can we have, and stuff like that. And you know, it is something I think about, but you know, I love the guy, so here I am.
Yeah. All right. You're who's conning who? Let's just ask that. You know?
Exactly.
I mean, you recently went back to his family reunion in the Midwest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's from the Midwest then? Where is he? Is he from?
He's from Minnesota.
He's from Minnesota.
Oh,
okay.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they print white people there.
Oh yeah, they got those 3D printers. That's wild.
Yeah.
You gotta take the little the dot matrix paper off. Fumi, I mean, you said, oh shit. What do you know? What is there Ohio versus Minnesota? Like, oh man, you're really white. You know, Ohio people saying that about Minnesota people.
No, I think it's all kind of the same. I just kind of wanted to ask Peter, like, you know, how did you enjoy my people? I'm from Ohio. Those are my people. And I mean, I guess you grew up in New York, so you're not you're not a Midwestern Asian. I'm always
no.
I always I would love to watch a TV show where we just have a bunch of like West Coast Asians and East Coast Asians. We just drop them off at the airport in Columbus, Ohio, and I just want to watch what they do at the mall or whatever. Because I don't think I always tell Mike, because Mike has never been to like. Or I know you've been to Minneapolis, but you didn't like really hang there.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand what it's like just being an Asian person, not even like hanging out with people, just operating in this insanely white space. They're not mean, but it's like it's not the South. It's Midwest has its own flavor of, you know, I guess it's grouped under racism, but it's also like it's corn flavored racism, if that makes sense. It's very sweet, you know. And Peter, what was your
experience like?
Well, I went to school in Michigan, so I know a little bit about that. But although I hung out with like Asians and Koreans the whole time, you know what I mean? And
hell yeah.
Did you go to University of Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's gonna be filled with all kinds of people because it's like a good school. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was pretty diverse, but you know, it's still that kind of Midwest feel. And then I spent five years in Chicago, which people think is like a big city, but it's like. I guess it is a big city, but by feel, it felt like just a large town. You know, you know how like LA is like where all the hot people go. It's like Chicago is where all the people in the Midwest were like, I'm going to the big city,
dude.
100%,
baby.
They're like, I made it.
I made it,
dude. I totally.
That's the energy. It's like this like chip on the shoulder, like, yeah, I'm fucking, you know, I'm cool. I'm with it. You know, I'm progressive, whatever. But they're like progressive for the middle of America,
right?
Which is like, it's very weird because especially in Chicago, it's highly segregated, and people on the north side, white people. They're like smiling and be like, oh, we're such a big city and we're so diverse and we love black people, but there's no black person to be found.
Yeah,
that's like
they'll have the Black Lives Matter protest with no black people. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll see that in Park Slope. Yeah, I'll see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it felt a little. The Midwest feels a little backwards to me as far as like progress. You know, like it just still it feels like it's doing the bare minimum. And I think it's because it's landlocked and you can't really get a lot of like people showing up on your shore like LA or like in New York.
Right.
People are just like they're just arriving, you know, like, because it's at the edge
just from
of
the
continent.
current. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I get it.
And we got to deal with it, you know, but like non-coastal cities, I don't know, Fumi, if you felt like this in Columbus, but it just feels locked in time.
For sure. Yes. I always say that it's really funny what you said about Chicago, because I always say that like Chicago is where people from Ohio go if they want to go to a big city, but they're too scared to go to New York.
Exactly.
And then Denver is where they go if they want to go to LA, but they're too scared to go to LA. Because it's the same thing. Like
Denver.
You know, it's like the Rocky Mountains. It's like very similar. There's hiking and like great breweries or whatever the fuck they're into. But it's like you go there and everybody there is from Michigan or everybody there is from Ohio. You know, it's like you can keep the same energy. You can keep the same familiar kind of people you grew up with, but now you're just in a different landscape. And I always found that a little, I don't want to say problematic because it's a fucking city, so do whatever you want. But like that mentality to me is a little shortcoming. You know, it's like, oh, you think you're progressive because you went to the big city, but now you live in Chicago and you're basically doing the same thing you were doing in Columbus, but now you think you're cool because you discovered skinny pants or skinny jeans in 2021.
Exactly.
You know?
So this reminds me, somebody was a nice fan was posting about us, and then was talking about how they live in the Midwest, and they quoted this awesome Mark Twain quote. Actually, I just had to look up, and Mark Twain says, "When the end of the world comes, I want to be in Cincinnati because it's always 20 years behind the times."
Damn!
We got to get this Mark Twain guy on the podcast.
We should do the podcast.
He sounds funny.
Mark Twain, what's going on? Yeah, I mean, I love
the sentence after that is just all the N words.
Oh
But
man,
it's
I love Huck
satire.
Finn. Yeah, it's satire. I love that we're just like systematically alienating different parts of the country one at a time. You know, it's like fuck LA, fuck the Midwest, fuck Chicago.
But
We're
that's
like-
how,
we're
I
like-
mean, once you go to New York, you kind of understand, like, you shit on everywhere else because
Yeah.
you're like, how do you consider yourself living in a city if you're not in New York?
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a fucking cliche thing because I was born and raised in New York. So I grew up shitting on everyone else. But, like, it's true, though. Like, you don't get that type of energy and that type of like forced cultural clashing that you get in New York anywhere else.
It is and to be fair, nobody shits on New York like New Yorkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Hey, you
We
hate
hate
New
it.
York? Get in line, okay? Trust me, this place sucks dick.
Summer's here and the living ain't easy if you've got a swamp ass. How will you stay on top of your sweaty bottom? Try a refreshing spray from a Hello Tushy bidet. Keep your sweaty crack clean all summer long with the brand new Hello Tushy 3.0 modern bidet attachment. It's a stylish, eco-friendly, refreshing little shower for your ass. Hello Tushy 3.0 cleans soggy butts like a champ, but it doesn't stop there. It cleans itself with the Smart Spray. That's trademarked. Automatic self-cleaning nozzle. No one wants to work up a sweat in the 100-degree heat. That's why the Hello Tushy bidet attaches to your existing toilet with no electricity or extra plumbing needed. And Hello Tushy cuts toilet paper use by 80%, so it'll pay for itself in a few months. Plus, Hello Tushy's got your ass covered with a 60-day risk-free guarantee and a 12-month warranty. Already got a Hello Tushy on your pot? Treat your ass to the new 3.0 model. If you're new to the revolution, join millions of happy Hello Tushy customers right now and have a clean butt with every flush. Defeat swamp ass. Go to hellotushy.com/ANA to get 10% off plus free shipping. This is a special offer for our listeners at hellotushy.com/ANA for 10% off. hellotushy.com/ANA. Anos, let me ask you this. Are you ever watching TV at home using your streaming services and you're like, you know what? I've got so many options here, but it's just not enough. Well, for those people, you guys can use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. Okay, Anos, you guys know that I'm a huge anime fan, and I use ExpressVPN sometimes to log on to Japanese Netflix or Netflix in Japan or whatever it's called, and I watch all these unreleased seasons of anime that I love, like Haikyuu season 3 and 4. I believe are out on the Japanese Netflix. It's only 1 and 2 are out in American Netflix. All right. How does ExpressVPN unblock content? ExpressVPN lets you change your online location so you can control where you want sites to think you're located. Open the app, select the location, tap one button to connect, and refresh the page to access thousands of new shows/movies. Why choose ExpressVPN over other VPNs? You can stream in HD, no problem. It's compatible with all your devices, phones, laptops, your Nokia sidekicks if you're old like Mike. I'm just kidding. That phone doesn't have that kind of feature because it was made in the 90s. Not only does it let you change your location, it also encrypts your data and lets you surf the web safely and anonymously. Go to expressvpn.com/Asian to get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. expressvpn.com/Asian.
I did hear also. I don't know if we don't have to get into too much, but you're hanging out with your family, or white boyfriend's family. Some of them were anti-vaxxers. Was that a little tricky, like kind of navigating that? Because you're gonna see that. What? In LA, there's gonna be anti-vaxxers, but they're gonna be hot. They drive Teslas.
Yeah.
But
Right.
what about
At least
in the
they're nice to
Midwest?
look at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Midwest, the anti-vaxxers look like anti-vaxxers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever image comes to your head, that's what they look like. At least, like in LA, they're hot, so you're like, oh, I'm distracted by your lips. But just a lot of thin-lipped conspiracy theorists in the Midwest. No fillers, no Botox.
What a drag, dude! Damn, dude. I'm gonna call that someone. You thin-lipped conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
it was tough right before we got there because we were discussing as a family, like, hey guys, this is not cool. This is a big issue. Like, let's talk through it. But the family member in question here is a white lady, and she, she first of all, let me just say I love her. She's a wonderful mom, et cetera, et cetera. But when we were telling her, like, hey, here's some statistics or whatever, and she pointed something out, like a amount of deaths after getting the vaccine. It was like self-reported. It was like double asterisked on the CDC site, right? Yeah. So I go, girl, this is statistically insignificant, these deaths. And she starts crying. Like
crying
and be like,
yo,
these deaths are significant. And she starts like wailing and had to excuse herself, left frame to go throw up. And then come back, puke, literally vomit from the phrase statistically significant. And I'm like, whoa,
wow,
okay,
that's not what that's not what the term means.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what you thought that means.
What are you talking about?
This is an innocuous statement, you know?
Oh my God.
But it was very emblematic of like what's going on in the country, of this kind of like weaponized fragility.
Outrage and yeah.
Like we have to.
Feel,
great word.
Yeah. I do feel that it's like hitting on the point of like people are not scientifically literate a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean these I almost feel sometimes the CDC needs to really hire someone who's dumb. You know, you ever read the CDC reports? They're so like, there's double asterisks.
They're too technical.
They're very technical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is what this means. This is what it is per 100,000. This is what this, this thing. And you're like trying to plot this like graph to somebody who like barely got through high school English. You know, barely got through it. And you're like trying to convince them all these things, and then they start crying about, insignificant, numbers or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, and it is tough because you're really starting to look at like how undereducated the fucking country is.
Yeah.
And as Asian Americans who I don't know what your education stuff is, but like just talking to you both, I can already tell like you've read some books, you know what I mean? Or like
Fumi just started. Fumi, it's a new thing for him, but he just started.
Books,
Fumi, like you seem like you've solved for X at one point. You know what I mean? Like
I have done that, and that was my shit. That was my shit.
Why
in 7th grade.
would you have to solve for X?
Yes, he starts crying.
Already beautiful as it is.
We don't need a solution for X.
We don't need a solution. X is perfect.
Oh my God.
All letters matter. It's too crazy.
X is the name of my second son. That's his name.
And for like Asian Americans specifically, I coming from I'm the first generation here. So my parents are immigrants, my entire family. So we kind of have that like very old school flavor of like emotions are dangerous, do not engage. Everything is logical, like, so in a way, like I feel really good. I feel safe in numbers, around numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like it was a huge thing for me to overcome, where I had to like learn a new language to talk to this person. But long story short, we got to Minnesota, and my boyfriend and I decided, we're like, all right, let's just like table it. Let's not talk about it. Let's just have a good time. Their kids are beautiful, wonderful kids. Let's just be there for these kids and not like engage at all. And it worked. It does work. Does it solve anything? No. But I don't think I'm here to solve this for her.
No,
you know
don't
what I mean?
solve for
Like,
X there. Don't solve for X. Don't do that.
Yeah.
And hey, if anything, though, I mean, Asians are good at ignoring the problem and just going on to the eating.
Yeah, exactly.
We're very good at that.
Yeah. And we'll deal with our emotions when we're drunk in a karaoke room.
That's the other way the CDC can reach people. Okay,
Have a big karaoke party.
Soju, we're drinking. I think that's great. I mean, I that kind of leads into the next thing. You've talked about this before on Tiger Belly with Bobby Lee and how you came out. I don't know if you want to quickly relate the story, but you came out to your mom at BCD Tofu House, which is just like mwah. I love that thing, and because I also wanted to talk about that sort of interplay with like food, going out to eat, and then having a very serious conversation. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to quickly like kind of just like recap.
Sure. Yeah. Your fans probably know what BCD is. It's bi-coastal.
Chengdong.
But
there's so many things.
They went out of business in K-Town in New York. They used to be one when I was in college, but they went out of business.
They went out of business? The one on 32nd?
I think so. I used to go all the time in college, and then like it was just gone.
Where'd you go to college? NYU?
NYU, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's still there.
Is it still there? Maybe they moved like sometimes.
There might
like,
have been
moved
another
2 blocks over or
location.
whatever.
You scared me.
It may have been in another place.
He's scared. Yeah, Peter was shook.
I was shook.
I mean,
it was a milestone what happened there. So like if it shut down and became like a hot topic, I would cry.
A Korean hot topic. I love BCD. I've had many drawn out Korean drama things happen in parking lots of BCD tofu houses. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm sorry. Continue with your story. I want to hear.
Well, it took a long time for me to come out. I was raised evangelical. I carried around this like closeted journey, this because I was like convinced that it was my cross to bear, and it was a lot of nonsense, but I came out to my family very late, way into adulthood, and I just didn't know how to do it. I was like, how do you tell your mom that you like having sex with men when you haven't even talked about sex with women? You know what I mean? Like, there's no kind of like intimacy barrier that has been crossed yet. So I'm like, how do I bring this up? And I knew my mom was going to cry. So I was like, all right, let's go to BCD. Because she won't like hit me in public. You know what I mean? Like
too much hot stew. Too much hot stew. Yeah, for sure.
Safety first. And secondly, if we go to BCD because it's spicy tofu, if she starts like crying, I could just blame it on the spice level. Be like, we said medium hot.
I said medium. No, you went hot.
Yeah.
Yo, I get it.
And I sat there and we ate, and then about like 75% through the meal, I was like, all right, guys, I have to tell you guys something. It was my mom and my brother, and I told them, and my mom immediately started crying. And I was just like, oh my god, here we go. But people are like, Korean people are sweating and crying while they eat anyway.
Yeah, that's all.
So it fit in perfectly.
Perfect.
Yeah. People are like, I'll have what she's having.
Yeah, if you're not crying a little bit in a Korean meal, it's not good enough.
It's not working. Yeah. And then my brother, who's 7 years younger than me, and he's like the straight Joe Rogan listening bro version of me.
Yep.
And he just like it takes one spoonful of tofu and he looks at me, he goes, you sure you know what you're doing? What the fuck? And honestly, I wasn't sure, but
no. Good call out. Yeah.
Read me. And then I was just like, I'm sure you guys, this isn't a big deal, but this is something you need to accept. And my brother was like, all right, cool. Like, it was just so, like,
just go right back to the fried shrimp, fried fish. Yep.
Exactly.
No problem.
That free little fried fish that comes
on the
side.
That little fried fish thing, get 4 of those. He's focused on the game. So, yeah. Wow. I mean, because you were saying earlier, like, you don't know how to come out. I mean, I don't know if, is there sort of like I don't even know. Is there like a playbook for something like this? Because I feel this is like probably one of the biggest conversations you could ever have with anybody, let alone, your evangelical mom, right? I mean, you know, like I don't even know what the other options are. Yeah. Would you look it up? I mean, how do you do it?
There was nothing to look up. I don't know any other gay Koreans. Now I do, but back then I didn't see any to like benchmark anything against. So, I was a pioneer. What can I say?
Yeah.
And
you're the news. Yeah. I feel, I mean, I definitely relate because I've had like a long, my wife is Korean and her parents have tried to break us up many times. This is before we were married. Now it's illegal. So like, they can't do anything there, but I remember having this, they flew over to New York to have a big talk with us, mainly with me, and I remember the talk happened in their hotel room. They were just trying to like explain why we weren't a good match, in the most kind of like almost logical way, you know? And the funny thing was, I was like, I totally agree. You're absolutely right.
She deserves way better.
I still believe that. You're absolutely right. But it's like, we're in love. So that's really the problem. And then we went out to eat at this really good Korean restaurant. And I'm sitting there like, and it's just this weird mix. Cause like inside it's like boiling emotions. And on the outside, there's all this delicious grilled meat. And I'm trying to like square those two things. Yeah. And then I remember I paid for the meal because I was like, I really want to get on their good side. But I think that actually kind of annoyed them. They're like, what, you don't think we got enough money? And I was like, damn, you know, like I was like, there's no way I could kind of win on this, you know? So
can I just ask, was the trepidation around the fact that you're not Korean?
Okay, so there's a bunch of different things. I think a lot of the reasons can be grouped under that super reason. Do you know what I'm saying?
Super reason.
The super reason. So it's not necessarily like that, you know, alone, but a lot of other things, you know, can kind of, in the taxonomy of why I suck. That's one of that's the larger thing. So yeah, man. I mean, shouts to BCD. It's still there. We'll have we
should do an episode there one time.
Oh, that would be amazing to do an episode there.
Anytime you need to break some bad news to your conservative family, take them to BCD, baby.
House.
Hey, and at least you get some free fried fish out of that, you know?
There you go.
You know, don't want to get into industry stuff, but you've got a show.
you said like
you
17
should rename
times
this podcast.
and then you just get into industry shit.
I'm just saying, everybody out there who's like, oh, I don't like these guys are out of touch. No, okay, just listen. Let me list out what's gonna happen. So you do have a show you're working on with Bobby Lee. It's ostensibly about the kind of like, you know, you coming home and taking over a family business, and it's a Korean spa, right? Yeah. And hey, you know what? You're from New York. We've not really talked about the Korean spa experience. Did you go to a lot of Korean spas? I mean, was your family involved in the business?
Oh, yeah. No, not in the business, but my dad, well, this is a kind of convoluted story of the origin of it, but my dad used to take me to this place called King Sauna in Jersey.
Yeah.
It's like a big Korean sauna out in Jersey. I think Powell Park or Fort Lee. And when I was young, he would take me there all the time in a way to like, I guess like force me to bathe with other naked men. Because I think, I don't know if for sure, but for me in retrospect, it felt like he was trying to toughen me up or, you know what I mean?
Kind of get you into that whole like masculine culture.
Yeah, locker room type of like, whatever, we all got penises, you know? Like, come on, stop being so shy or weird and, you know, covertly gay. And I think he knew that early. Like he was very macho, alpha, super toxic, and I was sitting there playing with My Little Ponies and like painting, you know what I mean? So he was like, you know, like, and he was always trying to make me play sports and do this like rough around. So he would take me to the Korean spas all the time, and I hated it because I just didn't want to be around other naked men, but I did, you know what I mean? Because I was like, oh. But you know, Korean spas now it's different, but like back then it was a lot of like old, like 900-year-old Korean men, just like, you know, sitting on a little plastic stool, like washing their balls. You know what I mean? It was not sexy at all.
Yeah, not at all.
And I remember thinking like I just insecure about like my own body and just being around other men. But anyway, fast forward to 2014, I get a call from my cousin. He goes, you know, I know you and your dad, you don't have a good, you know, a relationship, and you haven't talked to each other in 10 years, but man, it sucks to have to tell you this, but your dad died.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, what happened? And he goes, well, you know, he's been sick and stuff like that, and he had a heart attack. And I would go, oh shit, where? And he goes, in a hot tub at King Sauna.
Wow, going out like a true Korean.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a fried fish in his mouth, and oh shit.
There was a hard-boiled egg in the, you know, like in the tub. So and I just like had a moment where I was like, oh, what the fuck? And, you know, after I grieved and did all the processing and therapy and all that, I thought, well, what could be worse than that? Oh, what if like I had to come back and run the spa that he died in? Right. That became the pitch, and we pitched it as that. The pilot was pitched with my dad dying and me coming back for the funeral.
Right.
And then the family trying to get me to stay and me going, no, I got a better life. I hate all of you. But I end up staying.
Yeah.
But ABC was like, oh, we love it. We, do it. And then they were like, we don't want a premise pilot. We want like a 3rd episode pilot, which means don't tell us the setup of the whole thing. Just imagine we're watching like a couple of episodes in. So I had to like change the entire pilot. But anyway, it's better now. It's great.
Oh, by the way, I mean, that is such a touching and moving and crazy story. I will have to say, I have a relative who died the same way because like Japanese people are super into. He didn't die in a public spot. He died. He lives in Hokkaido, which is like the top part of Japan, and he has his own like. People up there, like a lot of times they have like their own baths made out of like special wood that's like good for your skin or whatever. And he just died. He was old, and I don't know if he had a heart attack or not, but his heart just stopped while he was taking a bath after work. And I think
it's kind of a nice way to go.
It's actually the best way to die because he didn't suffer at all. He was like chilling and probably
and his body's clean. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They don't even have to clean him. Yeah.
So Peter, have you? Do you go to spas? I'm not sure how your relationship with spas are now.
I love it.
Do you?
I love it. Obviously because of COVID, it's stopped. But what's interesting is that like Korean spas have now become hot spots for gay cruising.
Whoa!
Yeah. Specifically gay cruising.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, I'm so sorry. What is
that?
I don't think I understand what does gay cruising mean?
Yeah.
Oh, cruising is a term. It's an early gay term. I don't know if it exists anymore. Yeah, it does, I guess. But it means like you're going to like different areas to like hook up with strangers.
Okay.
Like at a park in Central Park. Like have you ever read Angels in America?
I have not.
The guy Ray Cohn, he goes. That's how he gets AIDS. He's like going around cruising, and the cruising culture was huge back in the 70s because being gay still in some states is illegal. So like you would have to like go to parks or have you read Pachinko?
Yeah.
So
somebody does that, right?
The guy in Japan, he goes to the forest to hook up. Like that's
Yeah.
Wow, what do you think your dad would think about that now?
I'm glad he's gone. Maybe that's what killed him. Maybe he was at Kingstown and he saw two guys like hooking up.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. Okay, it's a fucking circle. So we're with our guest, Peter Kim, lover of spas and stuff like that. So we're gonna play the game Asian, Not Asian. And so we've got a list of different things that we've been kind of writing down as we've been having an awesome time here. And you just got to tell us, is it Asian or not Asian? Okay. All right. So we'll start with this one. I think I got the town right because you only said it once. Fairhope, Alabama.
Not Asian.
Not Asian. Guys,
why not? There is a right answer.
You got to give us a reason.
Well, when I went, I was the only Asian I could see for miles.
Yeah, but you said you liked that. You said you liked that in the beginning. You liked being the only Asian.
Yeah, was that kind of cool?
Yeah, it was cool.
You could claim a whole town. You could be their familiar.
The familiar of Fairhope. They were coming up to me. They're like, "Oh, are you a fortune teller?" You wear many hats.
Wow. Okay, that's a good one. How about this one? Small fried fish. There you go.
Very Asian.
Super Asian.
Super Asian. You don't find that anywhere else, I feel. No other cuisine, especially free fried fish.
For free.
No, that's what makes it Asian, I think.
Who gives a side dish of a fish? That's a main protein for most people.
That is the main protein. I feel, I want to do sometimes, I want to do the thing. You know how in like if Olive Garden, sometimes they'll have just the soup and breadsticks. You can just go in there, pay $8. I want to do that for BCD where you go in there, don't even get the soup. Just give me unlimited fried fish and the dishes. Yeah. That's it. Give me $10.
That's actually
I get that
a very smart, LA, there's like, it's all about food fads here. It's just Instagram shit.
Yep.
There should be like a new Korean restaurant that's banchan only.
Yes.
Like side dish only, right?
Only side dishes.
That'd be
and
cool.
Like
I think
rice.
people will go for that.
I think people would be into that. All right. How about you, Fumi?
What about this? Hot white boyfriend. Asian, not Asian.
Unfortunately, very Asian.
I'm gonna have to agree with you that one.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
I do dream of bringing a hot Korean guy into the bedroom one day, though.
Whoa.
So if any of your listeners,
I think we got a few hot Korean.
We do.
Gays.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hit me up
All right, here we go.
A lot of people use this podcast to get laid and
to hook up.
Yeah.
Asian
Asian is also a hookup app.
We're the spa castle of podcasts. You know, so.
Yeah, come and cruise with their fans. It's a good time. Okay, and finally, washing your balls.
Washing your balls. That Asian
Washing your balls.
This is a tricky one. This is a tricky one.
That is a tricky one.
question.
This is a tricky one. This is a tricky one.
Is it Asian or is it not Asian? I'm gonna say it's Asian because we're very clean people.
We are.
You know,
Yeah.
And have you ever heard of this thing like Asians don't sweat? Or not? Not Asians don't sweat. Asians don't smell like body odor.
Yeah, Fumi and I have had a long
Is that
talk
real?
about this.
Well,
I'm smelling like shit. But
Mike is very stinky, but like
I'm very
it depends on like your DNA or whatever, right? It's like if you have if you have the crusty earwax or the honey earwax.
Are you? Yeah. Which one are you, Peter?
I'm honey.
Are you honey?
Yeah.
So
you're
you're
stinky,
smelly.
bro. You're stinky.
I'm stinky.
Is
that how it works?
It's related
I
to your
don't-
armpits. It's related to your
Are
armpits.
you? Yeah. Are you?
I-
Are you a stinky person? Do you feel you're a stinky person? I'm. Real
I guess
smelly.
I'm not really. I have never noticed my own smell before. I feel like I smell pretty good, but I do have. You know what? There's a part of my body that is absolutely disgusting. I will say, and
Okay.
maybe this is an Asian, not Asian thing. Do you guys have some kind of relationship with your belly button?
Oh, the black shit in there?
What the fuck is happening?
Nobody
It
taught you?
smells so bad.
Don't smell it. You're supposed to clean it every once in a while.
Oh, I
Okay,
haven't done
well,
that in a minute.
I
You've
smell
never,
it.
dude. That's like a
No, I haven't
man-
in a while. But
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
How do you clean it?
You can use soap and just your finger, or you can use like Q-tips. but you're not supposed to go. You're not supposed to go ham on it because then you get like a stomach
I
ache.
feel it. Okay, have you?
This is
ever,
like Asian mom
Oh,
science. I don't know
dude,
why you
yeah,
get a
dude.
stomach ache.
Dude, if
but-
you get in there, dude, you feel it in your taint, bro. You know.
That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
what is
don't go
happening?
ham.
Why is it connected to my asshole?
it's oh, I don't know.
There's like
Wait,
a
the
nerve
belly
running
button?
through there. Yeah,
Is
there's like a
there?
nerve. There's like a
There's
nerve
gotta be
running through
something
there.
This is all
connected.
unverified information. I cannot.
Yeah,
stress
This is
enough.
you're
That's
getting
the CDC.
straight up
We gotta
news,
get-
Asian news here.
Yo, let's check the CDC guidelines on how do you clean your taints or your.
Oh, my God.
And this is just very quickly. I've been hearing this thing. I don't know if you can verify this with your hot white boyfriend, but there's this thing now. I guess why people aren't bathing anymore. Is that a thing?
Oh, I did read that on Twitter.
Bathing?
Did you read about this?
You mean
They're not bathing.
not showering?
They're not showering.
Yeah, showering, not bathing. Jake Gyllenhaal was talking about how he's like, I haven't showered in a while. I was like,
Why? Because of the California drought? What are we talking about? Why
No,
are
I
you
mean,
not?
some people
I don't know.
Some people think it's like bad for your skin. I also generally feel like on average my white friends don't shower every day. Like that's a given.
Oh, okay. Well, I will say my white boyfriend. It's not. I'm more stringent about cleaning than he is. That is very true. And also, I don't know if you guys heard this, but did you hear this thing? Like, I think it came out like last year or something where like it was this big thing on Twitter where like white women weren't washing their legs.
What?
Oh, I kind of remember this.
Well,
Do you
what
guys
was the
wash your
reason?
legs?
How do you not wash your legs?
That's what I said.
What are you wearing pants?
No, because they're
pants?
like, I guess they just go pit, butt crack,
I see.
and junk, and then they leave it. And I
then
asked
they
my
just
boyfriend,
Oh.
I was like, did you hear about this? What's going on? He was like, oh yeah, I don't really wash my legs. And I was like, what the fuck? He's like, he was like, your legs don't get dirty. I'm like, it's part of your body. You have skin. It's fucking dirty.
I mean,
that's
I'm
weird.
not. I feel I'm not the most conscientious. I have like levels of showers. There's some times where I'm like really showering everything, and
Yeah.
sometimes where I'm like, oh, I didn't go outside. You know, during the pandemic, sometimes I wouldn't go outside, and I would just kind of like rinse. But like, I would always feel like I needed to shower, and I mean, especially me. I'm a stinky boy.
You're a stinky
You know?
Asian.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
That's me. I'm a stinky Asian.
You're a stinky Asian.
My hair gets so greasy that I have to shower.
There you go.
There we go. There we
Yeah.
go.
There you go. I mean, that's the game.
Just a game. Peter,
That's the
thank you for
game.
playing. You are a dirty belly button Asian.
You're a
We love
dirty
that.
belly button Asian.
Thank
I'm
you
glad.
so much
I
for
feel
playing the
really
game.
seen today because of this belly button.
Oh my gosh, Peter, thank you so much for doing the podcast. Before we end, where can our fans find you and your work?
Oh, you can find me at Peter KZ on the socials. And yeah, that's about it. I have a cool show coming out on Amazon called Fairfax, so look out for that.
What?
Yeah, I'm playing a Korean tween named Benny Choi. And yeah, it's going to be fun, so check that out.
Check that out. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Asian Not Asian Pod. I'm also on there at the Fumi Abe. That's TheFumiAbe.
You can find me on Instagram at Nice Pants Bro.
If you're an iPhone listener, please leave a review on the Apple Podcast app. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/AsianNotAsianPod. And I believe, we're also doing another Hack City. I won't be there, but in New York, Mike is doing a Hack City stand-up comedy show at Union Hall, August 21st. Ticket link will be in the episode description, or just go to AsianNotAsianPod.com for
gonna be
tickets.
real good.
And I think that is it, Peter. Thank you so much. This was amazing.
All right.
And Anals, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.